Hi, my name is Carol, and I am happy to share with you today the story of Saint Valentine. The source of this story is from The Complete Guide to Godly Play by Jerome Berryman, published by Church Publishing. This is Volume 7, the Enrichment Stories. This year we are telling this story in the Sundays after Epiphany, so we're still in the color of green, but our colors in the church are getting ready to change. Next Sunday we will be a different color, and some of you may know about what that color is. A very long time ago, in the city of Rome, a man named Valentine lived. He didn't live in one of those large, white, marble, huge buildings that you may have seen in pictures or maybe perhaps you visited. He lived on a noisy street in rooms up on the second floor. And in Rome, there he was a doctor, and people came to him so that he could heal them. And he had many things that helped him to do that, but one of the things he had was something like this. And he would gather across the fields outside of the city various herbs, and he would crush them and put them together to make medicines that he would give to his people coming and asking for him to help them. He loved being able to help other people. Sometimes those people who came to ask for help did not have very much money, and he was okay with that, and he would take whatever they might give him. Sometimes that was a loaf of warm bread, or perhaps it was a pair of sandals that they had made. Not everyone knew, but he was also a priest. But he had to keep that very quiet, because in those days it was against the law to be a Christian. And in fact, when something bad happened in the city of Rome, people would blame the Christians for it and put them in jail. So at night, when Valentine would go into his rooms, he would close the door and very quietly pray so that no one could hear him. One of the days when he was in his office, ready to accept people who needed his help, an old man came with his daughter. And the old man said, "Please, can you help my daughter? She has been blind since birth." Now, Valentine knew this was going to be very difficult, but he put together some herbs and he placed them on her eyes, and they felt cool and soothing. She still was not able to see. Valentine liked this girl very much, and he enjoyed talking with her. And often, when her father would go to work, she would walk with Valentine out into the fields outside of the city, and together they would pick the herbs that he needed to make his medicines. She also loved the flowers, especially the first flower that came after winter, the crocus. And she would pick flowers and she would bring them home to her father to give it to him when he came home from work. Besides taking care of the sick, Valentine also had people who came to him who wanted to get married. And at that time, there was a rule from the emperor that the young people who were very much in love, they could not get married because the emperor wanted them to have their full focus on being soldiers and helping to fight the battles that the city was in. So he didn't want them distracted by wives and having families. And so secretly, these young couples, so much in love, would come to Valentine and say, "We want to get married. What can we do?" And Valentine believed that they should be able to get married. And so, in secret, he would marry the two so that they would become one. But again, all that had to be kept very secret and quiet. One day, Valentine heard a loud noise banging on his door, and he did not know what it was. But before he even had time to get to the door to open it, the soldiers had crushed down the door and come to take Valentine away. Much to the old man's surprise, Valentine was brought into the jail where the old man with the blind daughter, that old man worked in that jail. That old man was so sad to see this person who had been so kind to his daughter and to so many other people, so sad to see him in jail, and he didn't know what he could do to help. So one of the things he did was he arranged for his daughter to be able to come and visit Valentine in the jail. And she would come to visit him, and she would bring flowers to him to brighten up his jail cell. And together they would talk, and Valentine would read things to her. After some time, the soldiers came back to Valentine to take him away. And Valentine said to the old man who was the jailer, "Please go find me something to write with and find me some paper, because your daughter is not here and I would like to write her a note." And so the jailer rushed and he found a scroll of this paper. And Valentine wrote a quick note on it. And he took a flower and rolled it up. He tied it up and he gave it to the jailer and said, "Give this to your daughter." And so the jailer took it home that at the end of his workday and gave it to his daughter. And she fumbled with the ribbon and untied it and gave it to her father and said, "Read this." And he read it, and it said, "From your Valentine." But she knew something had fallen out of the piece of paper and the scroll that had been wrapped up, and so she reached down to the ground to find it. And there was a flower. And for the first time in her life, she could see the colors of that flower. Valentine had been praying every night for a very long time that she might see for the first time, and now she did. Valentine is known for how much he loved people. And that is why the church remembers him. I wonder what you liked most about this story. I wonder where you are in this story. At the end of our class, we talk about work time, where you go and do something that's related to this story. Perhaps there is work time that you want to do related to this story. May you all have the happiest of Valentine's days, and we wish you all the best in the coming week and the coming weeks. Goodbye.